Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the All Portable Discussion Zone. It's a biweekly live stream all about portable radio. And my name is Charlie. Call sign is November Juliet 7 Victor. With me this evening is one of the two co hosts for the show, Dan, KC7MSU. And Brian's not with us. He's off doing something else. And I'm pleased to introduce to you tonight's guest, Glenn, W4YES. Welcome, Glenn.
Thank you.
And of course, as always, we have the regular characters in the chat room. If you have a comment or a question, go ahead and throw that in the chat feed, and we'll be sure to answer it and respond the best we can. Also, don't forget that this show is converted to a podcast and is available through most podcast players about 24 hours after the show goes live. So first, let's get caught up and see what everybody's been up to, and then we'll dive right in. Dan, do you want to take us away?
Sure. Let's see. This week I've been working on a project for some soda stuff that I'm going to be doing at our local Ham Fest here. Going to be putting up a booth and trying to get some more people active in operating outdoors. So I've been working learning Da Vinci. So not too good for a guy who has no creativity.
Da Vinci's
Uh,
good.
Also, been working on a little bit more on my CW, so got about 5 letters down pretty good. So I'm going to be adding a couple letters here this week. And one thing I'd like to say is we have a person who's going to be going out tomorrow to get their goat. Quentin, NU7Y, is going to be on Green Mountain down by Tucson tomorrow morning. It's 17:30 Zulu. So if you have the opportunity, point your antennas down there. He's a CW operator. Go after him and congratulate him on getting his goat.
Cool. All right. Yeah, I hope I am able to chase him tomorrow. That'd be good. He'll be the 20th goat
Number 20 in Arizona.
in Arizona. Cool. Yeah. Let's see what I've been up to. On Friday, I drove up north. I was going to spend the night up north, and in anticipation of the transatlantic summit to summit QSO party between the United States and Europe. Drove up there and was shocked by how much snow was up there. I thought it would be a skiff by the time I got up there, but there was 6 inches to a foot. And so my first activation I had planned on doing, I didn't take my snow boots, but I tromped through the snow in my hiking boots and activated on a completely snow-covered hill, and that was fun until it got the sun set a little bit and the wind blew, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to end this and see if I can go find me a camping spot. Hiked back down to the truck and went over and drove to the spot where I wanted to go, and it was completely there was a big old huge slush puddle and water everywhere. There was no way I could gain access, and at that point I'm like, well, I think I'll just go home. And so I just walked out through that water and into the activation zone, activated that summit real quick, then hopped back in the truck and drove back home. So that was my Friday. And then I chose a different peak for Saturday morning to participate in the transatlantic event. It was Humboldt Mountain, and wow, what an event that was. I had 120 contacts in, I don't know, 3 hours or so, and half of my contacts were on 10 meters. So I had about 57 or so 10-meter contacts, and about 15 of those were DX contacts, and I don't know, 3 or 4 of those were summit to summit DX contacts. So it was very successful. I had a great time, and so that's good. I just wanted to mention before we move over to Glenn, I've been kind of doing more stuff on TikTok. I have a few videos that I put out there now on TikTok. So check that out if you are a TikToker. And also, I've agreed to do a collaboration with a few other guys on TikTok. So we're doing a Tuesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern type. So at 7 o'clock, it'd be 7 o'clock Arizona time. Just an hour live stream where we're just kind of shooting the breeze on TikTok live. So check it out if you are over on TikTok. All right. So with that, Glenn, what have you been up to the last few weeks?
Hi, Charlie, and hello, Dan. Thank you so much for the invitation to be here. I'm excited to be here. The rest of the mountain area got on Arizona time last night, I guess, didn't they?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you guys do a lot of outdoor stuff. In fact, I know I was in communication with Charlie the last few days, and he kept saying, I've been out enjoying the great outdoors, and we've had a lot of rain here. I'm not an outdoor operator. I do a lot of just shack kinds of stuff, and I love rag chews. I'm not a contester, but I'm glad that there are contesters because I think we wouldn't have access to the bands that like we enjoy without that. But I just prefer to meet new people and uh, you know uh, the bands are changing. The idea of having 10-meter QSOs like you talked about, Charlie. Uh, that's very different. 20 meters has been very different recently. I'm a night owl, and even at 2 a.m. I can turn on and capture an Australia EX rag chew in the middle of the night, whereas 20 meters has generally been flatlined at night. So
Yeah.
it's been fun to watch the bands kind of make that shift. But anyway, that's been the ham radio side of things. I've been doing a lot of work on the coursework that teaching CW. We'll get into more of that, but
Yeah, let me just mention that real quick because for those of you who don't know, Glenn and we met each other um, in a Long Island CW club class, and I've been helping out with this class a little bit. I volunteered to do so. It's a class for youth, and so there's some great kids in there. Jenna and Avery, you might know some of you who watch, and there's several others that are just top-notch kids, and so I've been helping out and filling in, and Glenn pops in from time to time and fills in as well, and or just is there to kind of check out and see how things are going. And that's where I met him, and we chatted a little bit. And I'm like, you know what, Glenn, you are an interesting guy. We need to bring you on and learn more about you and about what you're doing. So that's how we met him. So Glenn, what is your association with Long Island CW Club, first of all? And then that's question one. And once you kind of get through that, just give us a little background on who you are, kind of what you've done in the past and your work and all that.
yeah, will do. Long Island CW Club. I joined earlier this year, and it has been an amazing and fantastic journey. Howard, whose club it is, has just been so kind and welcoming throughout the entire process. And having had some experience at CW Ops, CW Academy, uh, they saw me come in and goes, "Oh, let's try some new things." And so one of the things I love about Long Island CW Club is they're always innovating. Uh, they're always thinking outside the box and what can we do to improve and things like that. And so Howard sends his regards, by the way, over
Oh,
an email.
great,
He said,
great.
please pass that along. And yeah, I've been teaching CW now for about 5 or 6 years, something like that, and it's been a fun journey. You start to see some trends of kind of how what works and what doesn't work and things like that. So that has kept me busy, and I just love doing it. It's a wonderful experience to. It's a thrill. What fuels our fire is just to see students progress and have fun with CW. Uh, as far as my background,
Yeah, like where'd you work? How'd you start out when you in your career? Where'd you work first, and how
well,
did you transition?
I first got my first look at ham radio when I was about 12, I guess. And my dad, who was working at a transmitting station near Houston, where I lived, he came home. He said he knew I liked electronics and stuff, and he said, "You got to go with me to work and meet this guy." He talks to somebody in South Africa every day on his ham radio. Like, what's ham radio, right? So I get to meet this guy, and he gets his friend in South Africa on sideband, and he's talking with him, and he pulls me over. He says, "Here." He hands me the microphone, and here you talk to him. It's like, it's kind of frightening. Like, I don't know what to say. And I said probably the goofiest thing I could have asked, and that is, "Well, you live in Africa. Are there wild animals around you where you are?" And he goes, "Yes, yes, yes. In fact, there's my dipole is strung between my house and the horn of a rhinoceros that stands outside my house." And like, oh, okay, that was a dumb question. That was my first exposure to ham radio, and I got my ticket in my teens, and I thought it was cruel and unusual punishment to go to learn CW to get a license in those days. And then years later, that's all I do. It's funny how life works that way. But
So when you learned CW, what did you do to get proficient in it?
I, in those days, 5 words a minute was it, and it was a 3x5 card for me, which was like the worst way in the world to learn CW. Right? I mean, looking back, it's like the whole 5 word per minute thing was it was just sort of the wrong way to go about it. At least in the long term, it got you to where you could get your ticket and things like that. But it was not not the right way to do it, but it worked. Years later, like everyone else, you kind of drift away from it because of obligations of work and family, and came back in the '80s and got better, got my general ticket, and then within the past, half dozen years or so, I got back into ham radio and decided, I did the voice thing and it was good. And I did the digital thing and it was good. And I landed on CW. I thought, this is fun. I felt like home. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of how I got back
Cool.
there.
Yeah. And you so then you were always interested in electronics. So then you went to school somewhere and then eventually got a job, I'm assuming.
University of Houston, electrical engineer. And went to work for IBM in the Houston area, contracting to NASA for the space shuttle program. And it was the space shuttle. The onboard flight computers had some failures, and so our contract was to upgrade, build new flight computers, and everything the shuttle did on board was controlled by these computers. And so that was my job, was to work on the onboard flight
So
computers.
which shuttles did they all have the stuff that you worked on, or the ladder fleets?
The first dozen or so were the originals, and there were so many failures. But after that, we put the new flight computers on, and we never had a failure. We never had an onboard failure after that. Which there were five flight computers on the space shuttle. I only needed one to fly it, but because of redundancy and as humans on board and that sort of thing. So that was from there on out. We never had a single failure in flight. So
yeah. So IBM contractor, space shuttle. So that you obviously were very interested in NASA and in the shuttle program. Then obviously, right?
Right. And then years later, by the way, I became a marriage and family therapist. Now you talk about a turn, right? It went from electrons to neurons. So that was kind of like how I reinvented myself. But I never lost any interest in electronics and ham radio. So
Cool.
yeah.
Well, hold that thought real quick. Let me just thank Richie's Radio Room. Thank you so much for donating $3. That's really nice of you. Appreciate it. He's always coming in and supporting the channel, and it's so cool. And he says they must have been using Linux. Is that right?
For on board the shuttle?
Yeah.
No, Linux was around, but any kind of manned spaceflight craft tended to use older technology because it was proven, right? The last thing you want to do is put the latest and greatest thing on board a flight with people. I love the robotic stuff that NASA is doing these days, but in those days it was like, yeah, you're not going to be working on the latest stuff, but it was still the whole machine was the most technical, marvelous machine that had ever been put together. It looked easy, but a whole lot of things had to work right for that to happen.
Yeah. Had to dust off the book on BASIC and DOS, huh?
Yeah. It wasn't even DOS.
Oh,
it was all proprietary. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So you transitioned then from you were an electronics engineer and did all that. Then you transitioned to, did you say what did you say it was? A neural?
It was a marriage and family therapist. Went and got a graduate degree in therapy, and so yeah.
Okay.
It was
right.
Something I'd always wanted to do, and why not? So
cool. And are you still doing that?
No, I'm retired now. I love doing that, and I miss it actually. But
Yeah.
it was fun, and I'm retired now. My wife and I both. So
it sounds like it'd be something that it'd be very fulfilling, that career.
It was, and it also taught a lot about human behavior. And so when it comes to teaching any subject, human behavior has a lot to do with it. Sometimes the fears and anxieties and things like that you'll see in people that you can, I don't psychoanalyze anybody, but at the same time, I do watch behaviors, and you can see sometimes what's going on with some stumbling blocks that may come about.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's dive into some of your CW stuff. That's kind of why we're here. Let's start with your page, the W4YES page with the instant character recognition. Let's take it in that direction for a minute.
Okay.
Do you want to share that page, or do you want me to?
If you would, yeah, that'd be fine.
Yeah. Let me get it up here, and we'll talk a little bit about it. So
Got a
W,
couple of things going on sort of simultaneously with that website,
right?
and
There we go. And share screen. There we are. And I'm going to switch it
okay.
to this. There we
Yeah,
go.
very good. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, this is the main page, and instant character recognition. Some years ago, when working with CW Academy, it was obvious that there was something that we were just missing, and I groped around for some weeks and months trying to figure out what is the thing. There's no magic pill, right? There's no secret magic dust or anything like that to learning CW, but at the same time, uh, I I guess the analyst in me wanted to find out exactly, sort of fundamentally, what is it that we need to, and really the thing that keeps us where we are in our journey of CW is our ability to recognize characters. The faster they pop into our head. In fact, I like to say, I want the CW to become so instantly recognized that if you hear YELLOW, you don't have to try to get to the end of that and put it back together, because you instantly recognize the spoken characters, because we all learn those as children. And the idea is to learn the CW characters the same way, and in a way that you can follow the string of characters and then become words and thoughts and that sort of thing. So that's what this is all about. There's two different paths. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see a 10 character, sort of an on ramp approach there, and then the full 40 characters. You can kind of go either way. So
All
uh,
right.
Tom Weaver, W0FN, and I teach a class at Long Island CW Club that
Here's the
does that.
key. There's that. Yeah. So you teach an character recognition class. So which one of these should I click on? There's like three
Well, the
links
four, the 40 is good. Yeah.
right here.
Uh-huh. And so there are explanations what the class is within the practice material, and I have created tutorial videos that it will kind of lead you through the practice tools and how to use them, what to look for, frequently asked questions below that. So really everything you need is built there. So we ask new students to come in into the class. If you're brand new to the class, to go out there and check this out. Come back next time with questions and things like that. Because with Long Island CW Club, there are always new people coming in, and so that's kind of the way
Yeah, I was just going to ask how you managed your class with it. Let's just stop a minute, and because some people may not know this, it's some people may be new to the concept of how Long Island CW Club does classes versus how CW Ops does. Can you explain the
Yeah,
difference?
yeah, yeah. CW Academy is 8-week sessions, or 8-week semesters, I should say, twice a week, and they are uh, 4 times a year, 3 times a year, yeah, 4 times a year, and they're strictly structured as semesters. Long Island CW Club is a more of a free floating. Like for instance, there's classes on Morse, and if you want to go learn everything there is to know about Morse, and so if you can be there, great. If you can't, no problem, and you come and go as you please. And so it kind of have these ongoing classes like that.
So that
Sometimes,
poses a problem in some ways, though, doesn't it?
well, it in some ways it does, because
Not
like we
a
were saying,
challenge.
yeah, right, it's challenged because new people come in who maybe weren't there for the first part of it, and rather than constantly go back and try to catch people up, I ask them to go to the website and watch the videos and things like that, and that really helps to kind of get someone who's new sort of kick-started, so then when they do come the next week, but we meet just once a week instead of twice, and it's good. It's been fun. Yeah, we've been doing that since May of
And
this year.
so, what level of understanding do you need to have in order to join your class with the
Well,
Morse
you
code?
need at least you need to know your characters, right? You need to know that a did da da dit is a P, for instance. You don't need to have anything more than just an understanding of what the characters are. It's pretty basic from that standpoint, because we don't teach the characters. Long Island CW Club does have Beginner Carousel 1, Beginner Carousel 2, Capstone. They have other classes for people who are just learning their characters. It's a fantastic program that they put together across the board. They've been working on this for a couple of years now, and it's just they put together some amazing courses to bring people along and in an academic way.
I
It's just
agree.
it's amazing. Yeah.
And I just wanted to mention it. They've, like you said, the Long Island CW Club is forward thinking, and their program is constantly changing. And when we had Howard on, it's been a while. I don't think that the carousel program existed, and so maybe we need to just talk about that real briefly before we move on
Yeah,
to some other
yeah, yeah,
things.
yeah. They've had what they call now legacy beginner classes or beginner legacy classes, and they taught the characters. Now the carousel class is kind of it's brilliant and elegant. Uh, think of it as just like a carousel. It goes around and around, and so anytime you want to get into the class, you jump in and you learn the characters that they're working on that week. And after you've made your way around and learned all the characters, then you get off the carousel and go to the next carousel. So it doesn't really matter. There's no reset point.
Oh,
There's
I
no
Yeah,
like
start
that. I like
finish.
that concept so
Yeah,
much better because
it's brilliant, Dan.
yeah, because e- before, you'd come into the class and they'd be on, people would be going through several letters that, they've already learned and things like that. And it's much better if you're just focusing on one particular letter that particular evening so that you're learning something new hopefully, or you might be, getting the same letter you already know, but um and then next week you move on to a new letter. So I
Yeah.
like that concept.
Well, it's like beginner carousel one is you learn three characters the first time you come in. The next time another three letters. But the people in the class with you maybe have already learned many of those. There's 18, right? 3 times 6. So there's 6 times that you're learning three characters. But it doesn't matter when you jump in, you're learning your different characters than if you'd come in the week before or the week after. But it doesn't matter what order you learn them in. And then when you get past that, then you go into beginner carousel 2 and learn the rest of the characters and pro signs and things like that. So it's just a brilliant and elegant way to get people started.
yeah.
So is there a syllabus for a particular date that say I'm going to join it, this week? Is there like a syllabus of what letters will be taught that week so you can start thinking about those letters and start
Well,
practicing ahead?
not you can look at the schedule and do that, Dan, but really it's kind of irrelevant. Just jump in anytime and whatever the three characters that are there, then that's what you got. That's what you're going to be practicing for the next week. And the next time you'll learn three new ones and review the three that you had before and that sort of thing. So it's yeah, it's just it's very accommodating to the style of what LICW does, and that is come and go as you need to. And if you miss a class, and wait till the carousel comes back around and pick up those that you missed on that cycle, and you know, uh, there's no enrollment. The classes go constant. There's no semester start and end, that sort of thing. So
Yeah. The only
the
the only
ICR
thing
class. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, the only thing as far as registering is that you do have to become a member of the Long Island CW Club,
A
which
member of
isn't
the club.
much.
Yes.
It's only, I don't know what, I mean, I paid $90, I think, for a lifetime membership, so it can't be more than,
Yeah, I think it's 30 a year or 90 for a lifetime membership.
yeah, yeah.
At least
Yeah,
right now.
that's what I did too. I figured it's going to take a lifetime for me, so
You know
I'll just
you
jump
know
right
what,
in on
Dan?
it.
The beautiful thing about CW, for me, this is now, different for different people, but I love CW because there doesn't seem to be any there's no stopping point. In other words, I can always improve. There's always that room for improvement. There's never a place where I feel like, okay, now I've got it down. I'm as good as I can be. And in fact, I think that's kind of I think the journey is the fun part. It's not a destination so much as the journey. And so,
Well, there's so many facets for it, right? There's
yes.
number one, there's speed, you know, there's contesting, which is very different.
Mhm.
There's understanding all the different, pro signs and things like that, and how to use them, when to use them appropriately and things. So
Right.
there's a lot of little facets in there for the
Well,
CW programs.
and you're right, Dan. And one of the things is the abbreviations, right? That's almost like a sub language uh, under the whole Morse code piece of it, right? So you get on and the word YOU turns into just a U. and things like that, right? All the abbreviations that come with that. But that's part of learning to get on the air, and you'll hear a lot of abbreviations, and you kind of get used to it. And the word A-N-D, you'll never hear. It's an E-S. It's just quicker to send and things like that. So yeah, there's satellite, right? There's guys doing satellite CW work, and so all sorts of different facets of it. But
Yeah.
for what you guys are doing, like the POTA and SOTA, especially the low power, the QRP kinds of things, CW is fantastic because you can hear that dit and da through the noise where you maybe not won't hear that voice.
Yeah.
You're taking all that energy and shoving it into a very narrow frequency band there to make that communication.
Yeah, so we have a question here from 2E0GIY. I'm not sure how you pronounce your name, sorry. But he says, does the order on that carousel have some practical application? In other words, with CW ops, you can key or recognize simple words since lesson 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The characters themselves don't lend themselves necessarily. You may be learning 3 consonants the first time you're there. Of course, you're not going to make a word out of that. But the next week you'll be picking up some vowels and things like that, perhaps. But yeah, they'll send some small words. They'll send random characters and things like that. So.
Yeah.
But the idea is that once you've made your way around the carousel, you know those 18 characters well, and you move on to the second carousel.
Yeah, and the KD7DUG says the carousel program is fantastic. Just finished BC1 after 6 weeks and moving on to BC2. So
Nice.
that's good.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Good for you. So yeah, I mean, back to this question here. I would say, there are a lot of different approaches and ways to learn Morse code, and nothing to take away from the CW ops and the way that they approach it. And
Sure.
you can use simple words from, that may be what you prefer. And what's amazing and awesome is these days you have options. Whereas I don't know, when I was getting into the hobby, I don't know, in 2000 or 2005 or whatever, I don't think that either of these programs existed. So.
We're Kurt Zogelman. If you know who Kurt is, the
yeah.
Morse code ninja. Kurt is fantastic. He's amazing. He's a good friend now, and he said we live in the magic era of CW these days, because we never used to have these kinds of helps and mentors, and programs that we have access to that we never did before. So yeah. What's amazing, right? The CW goes away for the requirement for a license, and it would be natural to think, well, there goes Morse code. No one will ever, and it's been quite the opposite. It was a real renaissance of interest in CW.
Yep. All right. Well, let's transition then to this other project you've been working on, which I found absolutely incredible and fantastic, and I've been using this tool. But why don't you just take it away, and I can. Do you want to share the screen, or do you want me to? Probably you need to, right?
Well, I probably should. Click on present, right? Share screen. There we go.
Yep.
I am new to all this. Let's see. Okay, share screen. Okay, can I just share a particular screen?
Yeah, you just click on the one you want.
There we go. I got it.
And then, okay, so here we are. Before we move on, there's a House of Ham says both programs provide value. I am a Long Island CW Club Life member and did CWA intermediate. It keeps me progressing with CW, which has become a passion and obsession. Absolutely, good comment.
Yes. I love hearing that. I mean, that's like I say, that's the fuel. It doesn't matter whether you're CW Academy, Long Island CW Club. Don't really care. Just find something that you like to do and get out and to get on the air, right? It's kind of easy to become a student and sometimes get stuck there and go, well, I'm just afraid to write that key fright, sort of like mic fright, right? It's key fright. And the one thing I always try to urge people is that nobody cares. You're going to get out there and you're going to make mistakes, and you'll forget to send your call sign correctly, or you'll forget to whatever. And had a friend when I lived in Nashville years ago, and he said, "So what?" Right? Everything was so what. I forgot my call sign. So what? I forgot to send my name. So what? And so just keep it fun and keep it easy. So you're seeing the screen here, is that right?
Yep, there it is.
Okay. So we had used, in years past, I'd used G4FON, CW Player, a lot of great great tools for CW. In the classes, we were discovering though that Windows applications are, you had people who they were running Linux or Mac OS or something like that, and which are all great, but there was a problem with they were having trouble running the Windows apps. And so some years ago, I switched over to Stephen Phillips's website. I can't say enough good things about what Stephen Phillips has done here. Stephen began working on this in the late 90s, which is, you think about when the internet came along. So he's been at this for quite a while. And so, but we're able to kind of become the people that understand the user environment and what Stephen is offering here. And so we're kind of the people in between that help Stephen, and he helps us more than we help him.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So Glenn,
yes.
before we go
Yes,
underway here, did you click share audio when you brought that up? When you clicked present, there's a little checkbox. You probably want to check that, and if you didn't, you probably want to stop sharing and redo it.
Okay. So how do I stop sharing?
At the bottom, there should be a stop sharing button in blue.
Stop screen. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then so when you click that again,
and share screen, I need to select the audio.
There's a little checkbox at the bottom.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, there's a checkbox that says don't show these tips again.
There's at the very bottom, it says share system audio should be on the same row as share and cancel.
I see it. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Window. And sorry for the delay there. Were you not hearing me?
No, I was hearing you, but I just was anticipating the fact that you're going to be playing some audio from the website page.
Of course. Okay. Yeah, I will be. All right. So this is Stephen has an entire suite of Morse code tools here. International Morse code, American Morse code. I would stick with the international. That's sort of our standard. But he has training tools, CW generator, all sorts of things, instant character recognition. He has CW generator. I won't go through the whole list. Play around with this and find. He has an entire suite of products here, tools that he has put together. And what we try to do in our classes, we've just honed it down to just one of these, which is Word List Trainer. It fulfills everything that we need, and it makes it simple for the students. And let me just kind of go back to the splash page. Morsecode.world is the link to get there, and down this center section right here is Word List Trainer, right down the middle. And so you go there, and off you go into this tool.
So before you, sorry to keep interrupting.
Yes.
What's your affiliation with the creator and the partnership that you got going on?
We're just good friends. Stephen has the donate button here. I don't get any money off of this. We're good friends, and Stephen, I've donated many times to Stephen, but that's the extent of my relationship with Stephen. By the way, Stephen's in the UK. And so there's usually a 24-hour turnaround to communicate. But Stephen has always been very responsive, and there's a lot of features here that he has added based on requests.
Right, and you've been kind of helping. You've been collabing with him a little bit, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. Over the past couple of years or so. So as we come up with needs and things that would help our students, we inform Stephen. He comes up with ways to code this and provide us what we need. And Stephen's amazing. I don't know how he does what he does with all the different operating systems and browsers that people use and all that sort of thing. So
cool.
Yeah. So basically, real quick, this has 3 tabs across the top. It has ready-made files. You can generate your own. From dictionaries, or you can upload your own text or content or drag and drop. So let me just kind of stick here with this. And this is really kind of how we use this fundamentally for instant character recognition. I'll just start with, for instance, the alphabet, right? So in this drop down, you have all sorts of words and phrases and QSO words and state abbreviations and all sorts of things like that. But I'll just start with the alphabet, A through Z. Scrolling down here, you may come up. one of the things that we've asked Stephen to do, and he was very helpful, is he has 2 different layouts of the play and all the instructions here of what goes on, the process, the sequence, and he has stacked them vertically in this case. Once you learn, for instance, step 1 has this associated with this variable associated with it. And once you kind of learn this, then you can switch back. I'll show you the really the one that we kind of stick with. But let me just go through it real quick. Media controls here, the play is just a simple play next, sort of standard media. And then the message choice, right? You can random repeat. I'll actually show you this here in a second. Here's the character speed and effective speed. I'm going to drop it to, let's say, 25. I'll run the effective speed down to say, I don't know, say 12.
And the difference?
Pardon me? Oh, good question. Character speed, that's the speed of the actual character itself. In other words, if you were running 25 words per minute, that single character is going to play, the length of it will play exactly like you would hear that character at 25 words per minute. Okay? Now, the Farnsworth, or the effective speed, means I'm going to put gaps between those characters. That makes it equivalent to 12 words per minute, if that makes sense. So you're putting gaps between the characters, you're putting gaps between the words to make it an effective speed of 12. Great question. Thank you, Charlie. You get so used to this stuff, you just kind of glaze over it and move on. So anyway, you can adjust that there. There's an elapse timer that if you want to say you practice for 15 minutes or 5, it'll keep track of that for you. But the playing of the code, you see there's 6 steps here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And those were stacked vertically on the other view. But right now, if I go up to board visibility, you'll see the alphabets there. It's because that's what I selected above. So I'm going to leave that just for demonstration purposes. I tend to blank that out while we're practicing with this, because Morse code is all oral, AURAL, right? It's all coming in our ears. There's nothing really to watch or see or think about in that regard.
Quick question.
Yes.
Rodney asked, is there a way to also adjust the tonality for training?
Yes, the tonality. So under Morse controls right here, you can adjust the pitch. I want to turn off the advanced timing here. You can adjust the pitch. I like 550, but you can put that to what you want. The volume of it, and again, here is the character speed and Farnsworth speed there. So the tone is right there. The frequency of the tone. Speech controls, while I'm here, is the depending on what browser you use, you have an array of voices that you can choose from. It'll speak words and characters and things like that for you, and you can adjust the volume of the speech, the rate of the speech, and the pitch. So you can make someone sound low or high. But these typically I just leave at 0, the default, and the volume I have set to 80 out of 100. So that's the speech controls. The bell controls I really won't go over. It's just there's some selections you can have for the bell and things like that. So let me just play this right now. I'm going to hit play, and you'll hear the alphabet start to play. Okay, did you hear that A?
Did not.
You did not.
Let me
hold on a second.
Here.
Still no here?
No, but let me see here. We can try something else here. Let me try sharing my screen, and maybe we can go about it that way, just real quick.
So you need me to stop sharing?
No, you don't. I'll just share my screen here to make sure I share audio. And let's see. We'll do what you did. We'll go to A through Z.
Gotcha.
And then we'll
over here
we'll keep everything. All right. So I think we're good. Just
push
play.
Hit play, and let's see what happens. Well, I'll tell you what. Come up to detailed controls right above play. No, right there. Here you go. Let's flatten that out, and go ahead and hit play right there. Okay. So you're hearing that? Okay.
Yeah, I'm hearing it.
Okay, I'm hearing it as well. Now you have a repeat button to the right of the play that's turned on, that darkened right in the middle. Okay, you turn that off and hit it one more time. Hit that random one more time. Or excuse me, the repeat one more time. right there. There you go. And turn random off for a second. There we go. Now if you hit play now, it's just going to play one character, right? Okay, that's all it's going to do because you have no. But if you turn repeat on now, it's going to repeat and it'll start walking down the alphabet. Okay. Now while it's playing, move one button to the right, Charlie, and turn on random. Nope, 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 nope. Right there. There you go. Turn on random and just let it keep playing. Now you'll see it's just jumping around randomly to different characters. Okay, so while you're practicing, this is a really good tool to be able to keep it variable, right? You don't know what's coming up next. And so we're using this for instant character recognition. We tend to drive the character speed up to 27 to 37 and hear those characters as a single unit. If you get nothing else from what I'm about to say, the idea for instant character recognition is to, instead of hearing the code as dits and das, you hear the character as a single unit. And probably one of the best ways I can describe that, well, a couple of ways. We all know what 73 sounds like, or CQ in the code, right? We hear that as just a single unit. So the idea is you hear did it audit, and you don't think, let's see, two dits a da and a dit, that's an F. You just hear that sound as if someone speaks the letter F. Once that happens, then building words is just as if someone is just spelling them to you. And so while you're doing this, you will discover which ones are giving you trouble. Some of them you'll get wrong. Some of them you will get slow. If you come down a little bit there, Charlie, on the next line down, there's a speech under the number 4. I'm pointing at it. Keep going to the right. Speech right there. Okay. Now click that, and then hit play, and let's see what happens.
E. C.
So just let that run. We'll talk while it's running. The idea is to say the character out aloud before the computer does. So it's a little game.
E.
Q.
Q.
V.
V.
O.
O.
So that's how the game works. Okay. So you can hit stop, and it'll quit that. And if you scroll down a little bit further, you'll see something called recognition time to the far left there, and that's in milliseconds. So you're giving yourself 1 second of time between the time you hear the code and the time you hear the character spoken. So the idea as you practice this is keep driving that 1 second down to 800 milliseconds, 500 milliseconds. Once you get it down to about a half second, I would suggest getting it down even lower than that. The idea is that the brain begins to associate did and the sound of the spoken letter F. There is an association that happens in our subconscious that begins to connect those two together, so that later on when you hear did, you don't have to have a lookup table or repeat it. We all know what it feels like as beginners of CW. You hear did and you repeat that sound in your mind, right? I know what that feels like.
Right, yeah.
And the idea is to eliminate the intermediate steps here. We're eliminating the steps between hearing the code and knowing what it is. Now, this is you're only speaking it for practice. Once you get on the air, you're not going to be speaking to characters, of course. So that's the idea here behind instant character recognition, is to keep driving that space between the time of the code and the speech to give you less and less time to recognize it. And that exercise will help you discover which ones are giving you trouble. Then once that happens, you find out which ones they are. And this is going to be kind of hard to coach you through it. But if you come back up and just scroll back up. There's hope for me after all. Okay, so where you see the alphabet there, above it is a button that says disable all. Okay, you just went past it right there. So if you click on disable all, they'll all those go ahead. Okay, now if you hold down shift and select 4 or 5 of the characters randomly. Let's say B's giving you trouble and Z gives you trouble. In other words, now that you've discovered which ones are giving you trouble, now you select those. There you go. And when you get finished selecting the ones that give you trouble, come back down to play, and off it goes.
B,
Now, if you come back while it's playing, Charlie, come up
C,
to board visibility and
B,
just hide the board. There you go.
B,
Z.
Z.
Z,
I like that interface. The ability to be
E,
able to just select letters
E,
quickly up there is really nice. You're not having to go to
E.
an extra menu to select those, so
Right.
it makes it very fluid.
Steven has made this so simple to go up and enable. In fact, if you like it, to go to board visibility again, Charlie, and then you say enable all. So once you get finished practicing those few, you throw them back and say turn all the characters back on, and it can be sort of a game of whack-a-mole. Like yesterday, I was fine with J. Now J's giving me trouble today.
R,
All right, and so one of the keys to this is make sure your character speed is it's at 25. I would say 27 to 37. That may sound absurd, but remember, you're not copying the code at that speed. That is just the character speed, and the idea is to hear that character as a single unit. If you spread that out, dit dit da dit, it's really difficult to hear dit dit da dit as a single sound, right? So you really kind of need to jack that up and get that character very tight.
Y, B,
K.
K,
P.
P,
Z.
Z.
Z,
Oh.
O,
Right, so that's the idea behind the instant character recognition. This is just for the alphabet, by the way. Once you do that, you'll throw in the numbers, right? You do the numbers, and of course, now you start. Now you can you go up there and you can select just numbers. You can also select numbers and letters. You can select numbers and letters and punctuation. So you can really start throwing all those together, and it really starts to get more difficult, right? But
So you
there
have
they
to load
all
it,
are.
right?
Yeah.
So do that, and then what? Load?
No, it's already loaded. It's already
already
there.
loaded.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
already
there they
there.
are. There they are. 1, 2, 3, 4,
I
5.
do like the fact that you can load something that you want. Like if you had groups of, for example, like soda, typical soda ops call signs, you could load that up and practice those particular calls.
Yeah, yeah. Now, if you'll scroll back up for a second, Charlie, let me just kind of talk through those 3 tabs right there. Click on if you would, the Generate tab, which is next to the one you have. There you go. I'll just kind of talk. We don't have to do this, but you can put what characters that you know in the left side there. And you can practice which ones you have trouble with, and it will actually create words that make sure that every word has one of the letters that you're having trouble with. Right. So you don't need to put commas. You just put. It does need to have some that you do know. Put the vowels in there is probably a good idea, at least, and just type any characters you like, and then over here, yeah. Well, this is words, so numbers aren't going to be in words, but yeah. And so with enough characters on the left side that you know, and enough characters on the right side, you come down to generate, and you can say I want 1 through 5 letters. I'm not sure it's going to generate many here. Now you can scroll down and see how many it generated. It generated 16 words. Now you can see you didn't give it a whole lot of opportunity based on what you do know, but that's okay. It will create hundreds of words for you if you do that, but it'll play.
A, E,
E. Okay. So now if you'll stop that, and we'll go back up to the top, and so that's the Generate tab. Now, one of the best parts about this I like is the next tab over, the Upload or Input. And that allows you to upload a text file. So come down a little bit further and you'll see an upload button. You can upload just a flat text file, right? And it will put that for content. You can also drag and drop text into this if you like. You can cut and paste text into this. So if you, for instance, above there, where there's text above that, where it says load and edit your own, it's just, yeah, there you go. And just drag that down into the, or copy and paste it. And so anywhere on your screen, regardless if it's in a Word document somewhere or a text, as long as it's on your screen somewhere, you can just drag and drop something in there. So you can completely edit this any way you like. And so that just gives you a lot of flexibility to put or in other words, you have the ready-made stuff that Stephen has put on there for you, but you can create your own here. And
Look at that. That is
yeah.
really cool.
Now
I
let
like
me show you something here. Let's yeah. So as you see now, that broke that into separate words, right, Charlie? So come back up, and I'll show you something. Right below those three buttons, you'll see split text by, and click on
Oh,
sentence to the far right. Now come back down and look at what you have. So now he's taken that and made sure that it's in whole sentences, because right, so in other words, you can not just do words, you can do sentences or phrases or anything you like based on what you like to hear. So
wow, nice feature.
nice, right? Stephen has thought of everything.
This has changed a lot since the last time I looked at this tool.
Stephen has done some amazing. I keep saying that. I need to stop saying that so much. But yeah, Stephen, he does some amazing work here. And
Yeah.
so
Well, let's go ahead and see if there's any comments and questions.
Yeah.
I know I've been kind of missing some. So one, let's see. KD2 YDN says this is such a clean looking platform, I mean, which is true. Frank, Tank Radio's here. Welcome. Let's see. I wonder if this is a question. This is actually outside of what we're talking about. There may be hope for me after all. I already did that one. And she said, this is my go-to tool. Thank to Glenn for pointing this out to me on the site. Cool.
Well, very good. You're welcome.
And I dropped the link already. Does it do pro signs?
Yes, it does pro signs. If you put pro signs in greater than and less than brackets, it will send them as a pro sign. So you can clear that red button there, yeah, or you can do it that way. You can just hit the and just hit the less than button and say before you type the pro sign, hit the less than key.
Less than.
Right, and then an AR like you just had. Now a greater than, and come down, and it should send that as a pro sign.
Let's see, there it is right there.
Right, let's hear it. There you go.
AR.
Cool.
So yeah, it puts it together that way. There are many tags, and I don't have time to show all of them to you, but you can literally have it send something and have it say let's say, for instance, QSO abbreviations, right?
Yeah.
Let's say BCNU, right?
In the bracket?
BCNU means be seeing you. So I can make it say, I can make it send the letters BCNU and then make it say be seeing you.
Oh, really? How do you do that?
Okay. Race what you got. Okay, this is going to be a little technical. Above your enter key is a shift open bracket.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. All right. Now type in BCNU. Okay. Now above your enter key and a shift is a pipe. It's just a vertical line. Nope. There you go. Now type the words be seeing you with spaces between. And then put a closed bracket on that. Okay. Yeah. No, not that bracket. There you go. It's probably best. There you go. All right. Now come back down and play that and listen to it.
Let's see. There it is there.
Oh, look at that.
Be seeing you.
Oh, that is cool.
How you like that, right? So not only do you learn to copy the abbreviation, you actually hear what it means, right? And it's he has all sorts of tags like this that you can make use of. By the way, there's also a flashcard that you can actually see on the screen when it comes up as well. But anyway, there's so many features here. It's hard to go through all of them.
Yeah, I think we're getting close to the end. Actually, we've only got like 5 minutes.
This is what I was afraid of. There's so much flexibility and so many capabilities with Stephen's tool here.
Yeah, gosh, I mean, I guess since we only have 5 minutes, let's just turn any remaining time over to you, Glenn. First of all, if you do have anything else you want to add to what we've been talking about before we say our goodbyes and wrap it up.
I want to say appreciation to Howard, WB2UCE at Long Island CW Club, and Mike N1CC. They are the ones who are innovating, and they have just been fantastic about letting us innovate and experiment. And so we're doing some experimenting right now with the class, and the kids class, by the way, is following in parallel. Charlie, I don't know if you heard about that. But we're running a sort of a pilot class, and the kids class is running in parallel with that. And so we're getting feedback not just from the adults, but from the kids. And the kids are fantastic, right? The adults get sweaty palms when it comes to key fright, and the kids are like, just, oh, let me get out there and get on the air. So it's
That's
kind of
awesome.
interesting to watch.
That's absolutely amazing. Yeah, I really appreciate the Long Island CW Club and Howard's direction and leadership in this,
Yes.
and everybody else who's contributing. There's so many people contributing, and it just makes it amazing.
So there's so many. There's no way to name them all, but there's so many just wonderful people, and I love the culture there. There's just so much support. It's just a really. I think it was a community. It's a community of CW operators that are all there to just help each other out, and I love that spirit. So that's
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, what do you have to say?
I think the tool is fantastic. So I really like that, and I guess I'm going to have to go back and start coming into the carousel classes here. So and
Yeah.
Do it.
participate some in there.
Anytime. Like I say, it's a carousel, right, Dan? So just hop on board the carousel anytime, and off you go. And the main thing is, it's easy to kind of forget when you're going through this, is to have fun. If this isn't fun, then don't do it. All right, this ought to be just a load of fun, and we don't want to have classes that are so rigid and makes it so hard. But at the same time, we want to have some accountability and some structure, and it's a balancing act. But we want to keep the fun in there at all times.
Yep. And Dick says, great overview of all the features of a great help. Thank
Oh,
you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Glenn, I'm going to say my goodbyes here, but stick around after we end the live, and we'll meet you and chat to do like a little post meeting before we wrap
Okay.
things up. So don't drop off after the live is over. But
Thank
I
you for
want
the invitation, by the way, Charlie and Dan.
Oh,
Thank you
yes.
for the invitation. This has been an honor.
Yes, it's been our pleasure.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, I think actually from what I'm seeing in chat as well, I think there were a lot of people who didn't know about this tool who are really excited about it and want to use it. So that's great.
Morsco.world, and you just saw a little sliver. You really did. You just saw a little sliver of what Stephen has put together out there. So
Yeah,
go out there, play around. It's all free, and yeah, there you go.
cool. So I remind everybody who's here, I don't have the link, but right after this stream, my friend Jason at Ham Radio 2.0 has a stream. His is directly following mine in about a minute and a half. So go check him out. Also, just to invite you to participate in one of the two programs, either the Long Island CW Club or the CW Ops classes, if you're interested in Morse code. In particular, I just want to give it another plug for the Long Island CW Club. I help with that, and I just know that they're just doing their very best, and there are a lot of good results coming from their efforts. So check it out. Drop into their classes to see if you like it. I think that you will. And so with that, Glenn, thank you so much. And I guess we will be seeing you in the next class coming up on Thursday with the youth. Maybe, and maybe not. It depends on what you got going on. You're so busy.
Yeah, there's so much going on. I think of the kids class as my vacation. It's just a fun piece to go work with the kids. They're so much fun. Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody who was in chat and participating. Also, thanks to those of you who'll be watching later. And I hope you've enjoyed this. And we will see you in 2 weeks. We will have another guest on, and who knows I haven't really decided what that's going to be. But thanks for coming and supporting the channel. And thank you, Glenn. And we will see everybody next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.